Darkness has a specific scent. For Victor Sterling, 10 years of it had smelled like wet concrete and the metallic tang of oxidized iron. Waking up in the Sterling estate was a sensory violation. Instead of rust, his lungs were filled with the cloying, expensive aroma of Egyptian cotton and the citrusy sting of lemon oil furniture polish. It was the smell of a life he had forgotten he once owned. The smell of a safety that felt more like a threat. He lay motionless, fingers trailing over a silk duvet with 400 thread count. The skin on his hands was terrifyingly smooth. No tremors, no scars from the winter riots in the isolation ward. He was 21 again, a prince residing in a temple of greed, carrying the heavy, rotting soul of a corpse.
I am a ghost attending my own funeral, 10 years before the first shovel of dirt hits the coffin.
The silence of the Sterling mansion was monolithic, designed to swallow screams and bury secrets. That silence was shattered by the upbeat, digital chirp of a smartphone on the mahogany nightstand. Aggressively cheerful, almost insulting, Victor's eyes snapped open to a ceiling of vast, unbroken white plaster. No cracks to count, no stains to map. He reached for the device. The screen glowed with a name that turned his blood into shards of ice. Marcus Hale, the man who would eventually hold the door open for the federal agents, while wearing Victor's own watch. Victor answered. He said nothing. He simply listened to the rhythmic breathing of a murderer who had not yet realized his target was already dead.
Vic? You dead, buddy? I've been sitting in your driveway for 10 minutes watching the sprinklers. Your head of security is eyeing my car like he wants to civilly forfeit it. Get your ass down here. We are losing our slot at the club, and I'm not playing against that retired judge again. If I have to listen to him talk about his hip replacement one more time, I am billing you for the therapy.
I am awake. Give me 5 minutes, Marcus.
He severed the connection. He could not risk hearing that laugh again, not until his mask was perfectly in place. Victor stood up. His legs felt disturbingly light. He walked to the full-length mirror and spent a long time looking at the stranger in the glass. Bright, untroubled eyes, thick dark hair, a jawline that had not yet been hollowed out by prison rations. He looked like a man who believed the world was a gift waiting to be unwrapped.
You have no idea. You think you are waking up to a tennis match. You are actually waking up to your own execution. I just have not decided on the date yet.
He dressed with the mechanical efficiency of a soldier preparing for deep cover war. A charcoal polo, dark trousers, a gray jacket that cost more than a prison guard's annual salary. He was a spy in his own life. In a driveway, the silver sport car was idling a low, expensive growl. Marcus was leaning against the hood, checking his reflection in his sunglasses. As Victor approached, Marcus threw a playful punch at his shoulder. In his previous life, Victor would have laughed and wrestled him. This time, Victor simply shifted his weight 3 inches to the left. Marcus's fist caught nothing but air. The grin on Marcus's face faltered for a fraction of a second, then snapped back into place.
Oh man, Jesus Vic, you look like an accountant in that gray jacket. It is 85 degrees out. Where is the linen? Where is the swagger? You are acting like someone died.
I have a lot of numbers to keep track of today, Marcus. Many of them belong to you.
Marcus laughed, loud, easy, entirely oblivious to the frost forming inside the car. They drove in silence for 3 minutes. The air conditioning was too perfect, the leather too soft. The silence between them was screaming. Victor spoke without turning his head.
Stop the car.
We are not even out of the neighborhood, Vic. What is the deal?
I said, stop the car.
You good, man? You have been weird since I picked you up.
Bad headache. Go without me. I will meet you there later.
Bro, come on. Fine. Be a princess about it. But you're buying the drinks after. Try not to look so dead, Vic. People will talk.
Go, Marcus! People will talk, Marcus. That is the entire point of the next 3 months.
Victor watched the silver car disappear around the corner. Then he walked back inside. The dining room of the Sterling estate was a mausoleum of polished oak and cold ambition. High ceilings, marble floors, a grandfather clock ticking with a heavy, rhythmic thud, sounding less like a timepiece and more like a countdown to a detonation. Arthur Sterling sat at the head of the table, the Financial Times held up like a shield. He did not look up. He did not need to. He ruled every room he entered by gravity alone. Victor sat at the opposite end, 20 feet of polished oak separating father from son. He watched the old man use a silver knife to spread a precise, thin layer of butter on a piece of dry toast. This was the man who, in 3 years, would look Victor in the eye and say, "The family name is a legacy. You're just a temporary occupant. Sign the confession."
You did not go to the club. Marcus Hale left without you. A sloppy boy, Marcus. Useful, but sloppy. Never decline an invitation to measure your opponent, Victor. It makes you look weak. And another thing, that Shen girl, Chloe. I heard you were at the university library with her again. That Shen girl is a distraction you do not need. Her family has no standing, no leverage, no use to this name. Elena Vance is the only name you should be remembering. That merger is the only thing that matters this year. Fix your priorities, or I will fix them for you.
Understood, Father. Every distraction will be dealt with in time.
Arthur returned to his newspaper without another word. The conversation was over. It had never really been a conversation. Victor drove until the glass towers of the financial district faded into the gray, industrial rot of the riverfront, the part of the city the Sterlings did not acknowledge. He parked near a rusted pier, sat on the sun-warmed concrete, legs dangling over the dark water below. He pulled his phone from his pocket. The wallpaper was a photo from a New Year's Eve party. He was in the middle, laughing. Marcus on one side, Elena on the other. They looked like the kings of the world. He hit delete. Then he opened a blank note and began to type. August 14th, the Henderson collapse. November 3rd, the SEC leak. March 12th, Marcus's father's gambling debt. He knew every secret in this city because he had watched them all explode, from a prison television set bolted to a cinder block wall. Back in his room that evening, the house was silent again. Victor sat at the mahogany desk and opened a hidden drawer. He pulled out a single sheet of heavy, cream-colored stationery, picked up a fountain pen. In a hand that was unervingly steady, he wrote 3 words at the top of the page. Phase 1, Marcus. He stared at the ink until it dried to a dark, permanent black. Then he turned the page over. On the blank reverse side, he wrote 1 line. Chloe Shun. He underlined it once. Then he stared at it for a long time, longer than he had stared at Marcus's name, longer than he had stared at his father's empty chair. Then he drew a small, heavy question mark beside it. He closed the notebook.
Not yet. She stays out of the dark. She has to stay out of the dark.
Victor stood, walked to the window. Outside, the city lights were beginning to flicker on across the skyline. Thousands of them, cold and indifferent as distant stars. He had a dinner to prepare for. The game had not even begun, and he already knew exactly how Marcus Hale was going to fall.